Oh, well, okay, we are streaming. Okay. The meeting of the Board of Port Wardens on Tuesday, June 25th, 2024 will be called at 7:01 p.m. Let's do a roll call. In attendance, we've got Port Warden Harold Siegel, Port Warden Jared Lerner, Port Warden Jonathan McCopp. We also have from the city, Brian Adams, Carrie Berger, Kim is here as well. It looks like not part of the Port Wardens, but we have Matt Kelly from the Department of Public Works and Burr Vogel from the city. We have three or more, so we have a quorum. The next item on the agenda and we're going to have a slight alteration before we sort of move to approve the agenda. All right. And that is, there are two elements on here of findings of fact. There's sure I'm going to handle one of them, and then I'm going to pass one of them to Harold. But for Port, and again, we want to approve alteration of the agenda. Port 2024-0005, Horn Point Harbor Marina. So on June 19th, the Department of Planning and Zoning received a motion to reconsider the Port Warden's decision on that, again, Port 2024-0005. Since the agenda for this meeting had already been published, and due to the 7-day response time for any opposition, the motion for reconsideration cannot be considered until our next meeting, which is July 23rd. So I find it good cause exists for an extension of time to approve the written findings of fact so that it can include our decision on the motion for reconsideration. Can I get a motion to remove findings of fact, Port 2024-00005, Horn Point Marina, from tonight's agenda?
Motion to remove.
Motion from Jonathan McCopp. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. I want to allow some discussion for, is there any discussion amongst the Port Wardens?
Yeah, I'm still a little unclear of why we're going to delay it, but can we explain that a little bit further?
All right. If there's already a motion we know is coming down the pike and it just didn't get filed at exactly the correct time, there's an honest assumption that we have more to hear or more to sort of deliberate about. And so by not pushing the findings of fact, we're allowed to extend that. And so we can hear the motion to reconsider at the exact same time, and preferably, or if we chose or voted to, then we could hear it again. Obviously, it's rare that we do get motions for reconsideration. In this case, it's something we probably do want to hear again and deliberate again.
If at the next meeting the motion to reconsider is voted down, then the findings of fact, etc., stand the way it is as of right now?
I believe so, but then it could move to the next level for the applicant, which is sort of into the court system.
Okay, but if motion to reconsider does not pass, then the finding of facts that we agreed upon, that we discussed last meeting, stands without further
right. So you have 30 more days to think about motion for reconsideration. We're not voting on the motion to reconsider. We're voting on not doing the findings of fact and extending that time frame so we can look closer at the issue and consider it, as well as give other people the time that they're, I believe, they have a 7-day response time for opposition, and we're too tight based on when this agenda was published, the one we're working with right now.
Gotcha.
Okay. Okay, so there is a motion by Jonathan McCop. Is there a second?
I think Jared seconded it.
Second.
Jared, thank you. I apologize. Okay. All those in favor of the motion to remove the findings of fact port 2024-00005 Horn Point Marina from tonight's agenda? All right, all four are in favor. There's no one opposed, so the motion passes. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna now, because it's a matter I recused myself on, I'm gonna pass the gavel to Mr. Siegel since Vice Chair Anderson's not with us right now. So Harold, if you can
Yes.
handle the similar topic related to port 2024-00008. That would be great.
Okay, I guess we're going to basically just repeat what Chairman Shapiro went through in terms of the previous case, whereby we are going to potentially delay or postpone the finding of fact for the case 0008, I believe is the one that you mentioned, until
005, yes, 008, sorry.
yes, until next month. Similarly, for similar reasons, do we have a motion to postpone and postpone that hearing till next month?
A motion to postpone.
Do we have a second?
I have to abstain, so.
Second. Second.
So Jared will second. Any discussion on that? I don't think there's any discussion. The only discussion I had was on the previous one, so it falls into the same category. So let's go ahead and vote. All in favor of postponing the finding of fact for the 008 for until next month, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? No opposed, so that motion passes. We will delay it all, or we will then conduct that further hearing on that motion, on that agenda item till next month.
Okay. And Carrie, to be clear, we do not do the findings of fact for those two cases, correct?
Tonight?
Yes, correct.
No,
Yeah, no,
so they've been removed
that's
from the
what we spoke about.
agenda.
I just want to absolutely be clear. There isn't any, I can just ignore those components for tonight, which is
Right,
great.
just
Thank you.
pretend like they're no longer on the agenda.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the May 28th, 2024 meeting. Can I get a motion for that?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Mr. Siegel, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Lerner, thank you very much. All those in favor, please state aye or yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you very much. The motion passes. Next item on agenda is the findings of fact from the May 28th, 2024 meeting, which right now will only be the port 2024-00007, James Bonham, 6 Loudon Lane. It was to replace 98 feet of timber bulkhead, remove existing pier and pilings, and construct a 270-foot long pier with a 20 by 10 platform and 1 mooring pile, and construct a 3 by 50 pier extension to boat with associated lift, mooring pilings, and 3 pile dolphins. Is there a motion to approve the written findings of fact? And is there a second? Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Jared, thank you. All right, can I get a second? All right, Mr. McCobb, thank you very much. All right, all those in favor of the motion to approve the written findings of fact of port 2024-00007, James Bonham, 6 Loudon Lane, state aye or yes?
Aye.
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 All right, that's unanimous. All right, fantastic. Motion passes. All right, so let's move ourselves. We have no old business tonight, so let's move ourselves to new business. The next item agenda is port 2024-0000406. Quarter Landing HOA Quarter Landing Road. It's to relocate existing floating pier and platform, construct a 4 by 14-foot gangway connecting to a 5 by 107-foot floating pier, 3 by 44-foot floating ship, 2 3 by 34 floating piers, and 2 boat lifts associated with piles, 2 mooring piles, construct 6 by 52 timber pier and 13 by 15 foot platform. All right, anyone planning to testify? Who do we have testifying in this matter tonight? Ms.
That would
Norris?
be me, Mr.
Okay,
Shapiro.
great. All right, thank you very much. If I can have you raise your hand and your right hand. I want to. You do solemnly swear and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give the Port Wardens is the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. All right, as a preliminary matter, the board will accept into record the application packet and the staff report from Planning and Zoning, as well as any public comments. Mr. Adams, are there any existing public comments or anyone here to speak on that matter?
There is neither. No written testimony, no live testimony.
Okay, all right. Mrs. Norris, if you can give us a very brief description of your qualifications that are relevant to the application, and then if you can present the application, that would be fantastic.
Okay. I am Renee Norris. I'm the owner of RKN Marine Permits and Services. I specialize in permits for marine construction work and shoreline work. I'm representing Quarter Landing Homeowners Association. There are 7 homes in the Quarter Landing HOA. I submitted the building permit applications to both the City of Annapolis and Maryland Department of the Environment. Waterfront Engineering Design and Construction provided the site plans, and I worked with them on the permit package. The certified letters were mailed June 12th, 2024. The signs were posted June 12th. We received letters of no objection from the neighbor, Ms. Barbara Wilson, also from Michael Alexander, president of the board of directors of the Point Condominiums, and Stephen Rage, president of the Quarter Landing Homeowners Association. The proposed construction is to remove 2 existing piers and 14 mooring piles and to relocate an existing floating pier, to construct a 52-foot long by 6-foot wide timber fixed pier with a 15-foot by 13-foot platform, all within a maximum of 67 feet channelward of the mean high water line, to construct a 4-foot by 14-foot long aluminum gangway connecting to a 107-foot long by 5-foot wide floating pier, 3 44-foot long by 3-foot wide floating piers, 2 34-foot long by 3-foot wide floating piers, 2 boat lifts with the associated piles, and 2 mooring piles, all within a maximum of 67 feet channelward of the mean high water line. As I said, there are currently 7 existing slips, and we are proposing the same 7 slips.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. There is evidently no public testimony, which is great. Rebuttal by applicant or appellant, we don't seem to have that. So let's go ahead with questions. I've looked at this closely, and as far as all the titles the Port Wardens are responsible for, it looks like you're well within your setbacks. You're well within the harbor line. It looks like actually a really nice redesign of a myriad of like 3 other docks. So it's sort of a nice configuration in my opinion, but that's not pertinent to the title part. I guess I'll turn it over to any of the Port Wardens. Do any Port Wardens have any questions of this project? Jonathan?
No, I mean, it looks like it's, within the setbacks and everything look good, and it's within the harbor line, and I don't have any comments on it.
Okay. I mean, it's well designed.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a better use of space. It's probably better for boating. It's probably safer for everyone exiting because they're basically being docked stern to and then straight out. I guess we can at this point. I have all the questions I have, and it sounds like the Port Wardens. Are there any more questions?
Oh.
before. Okay, so then I declare the public hearing for Port 2024-00006 address closed. As far as like all the criteria we have to abide by, placement of the construction material and substantially lasting it's again, it doesn't affect navigation. You're well within the harbor line. Your setbacks are appropriate. It's not a public access scenario. Marine life is fine. It doesn't look like it'll cause any congestion. As a matter of fact, like I said, it might free up a tiny bit. That's 1516-030C. It looks like it's the effective proposed use for it fits well within Title 15, in my opinion. Okay, let's go ahead
Hey,
and
Chair.
Yeah.
yes.
It looks like your video is off.
Oh, let me see what's going on with that. Hold on.
Also,
There you go.
Sorry
I'll
about
just
that. Okay.
also add, it was
All right,
nice
thank
we
you.
got
I'm glad you
letters
pointed
from
that out.
neighbors.
I'm busy looking at the title I have to abide by. So yes, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and move. I'll entertain a motion to approve or deny the application in Port 2024-00006, Quarter Landing HOA, Quarter Landing Road.
Motion to approve.
All right, thank you,
Second.
Mr. Siegel. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Jonathan McCott, thank you very much. All right, all those in favor of the motion to approve the application Port 2024-00006, Quarter Landing Road, please say aye or yes.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous, all four in attendance. So the motion has passed. All right, let's move over to the Port 2024-00010, City of Annapolis City Dock. It's to raise the existing bulkhead by approximately 1 foot and enlarge 4 existing bulkhead penetrations along Dock Street. All right. Can I, Madeline, anyone who is the parties that relate, can anyone planning to testify, please raise your right hand. So Mr. Kelly, Mr. Vogel, all right. You do, let's go ahead and swear you in. You do solemnly swear and affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you are about to give to the Port Wardens is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. All right. Thank you very much. All right. As a preliminary matter, the board will accept the record of the application packet and the staff report from planning and zoning, and as well as any public comments. Mr. Adams, do we have an existence of any public comments and or I guess the public present?
We have no written comments. There may be residents for public testimony, but I'm not sure. That would be up to the TV folks to let us know if there's anyone there.
Okay.
There
Madeline?
are multiple names in the attendee list. One of them I think I had on my list for public testimony, but it's just initials, but it's the same initials as someone. And then there's 3 names I don't recognize and 1 string of numbers and letters.
Okay. Let's do this. Let's hear the applicant. Let's hear the people from the city. And then when we get to public testimony, we'll identify those that are here to speak about it, and then we'll swear them in and have them give their comments. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. So
Madeline, could you promote the members of our engineering team?
do we have
Folks
them
from
identified?
WSP.
Yeah.
Ron, you should have their names and emails.
Matt, your volume, or it's a little challenging. Madeline, can you identify of those 4? Is there a way to inquire? We can't see them, but
Is Rob Tuma or Thuma with WSP?
Yes.
Sure, I will promote him.
Is there a Marla?
There is not.
Okay.
I would suggest maybe just bringing everyone forward and then having them identify themselves and then swearing them in, just so that there's no
Okay,
confusion as to who's with the city as part of the applicants and the consultant.
Can do.
okay. And Mr. Thuma, we're gonna need to see your video, please. Thank you. All right, Miss McDermott, we're gonna need to see your video and have your volume on. All right, I've got a Marla, if you can put your video on. I've got a baby German Shepherd, USMD. Okay, thank you. All right, RCR, can we get your video on, please?
That's for public comment.
Oh, okay. All right, so are all those people who just got added here for port 2024-00010 City of Annapolis City Dock, either public comment and or part of the engineering group? Okay, we will keep, okay, let's go ahead. The person, Rob, you're with the engineering group. Mr. Vogel, Mr. Kelly, you're with the city. So we will leave your volume on. We won't mute you for the sake of just general normal protection. In public meetings like this, we usually, anyone here from the public, we will unmute you when we go to talk to you. That way no one does a Zoom bomb in here, okay? So it is absolutely normal. It's sort of protocol. Don't feel guilty that we're muting you at that point. Miss McDermott, are you an engineer or with the city, or are you public comment?
Public.
Okay, great. So you'll go ahead and mute and we'll push forward. Thank you very much. All right, so who is actually doing the presentation from the city? Are all three of you, or is one of you in particular?
I'm kicking off and then turning things over primarily to Marla.
Okay, all right, fantastic. All right, I'm assuming since you're brought in from the city engineers, you can do the briefest of what qualifications you have as far as the relevance to this particular project. We might as well just get that out of the way so that when Mr. Vogel passes to you, we understand sort of your qualifications, okay?
So the Whiting Turner WSP team, go ahead and introduce yourselves. Let's start with Travis.
Thanks, Bert. Travis Lagan with Whiting Turner. We're a part of the design build team. I'm here to assist Burr, Marla, Matt, Rob with any questions that may arise that they'd wish for me to answer.
Okay.
Rob?
Hello, Rob Tuma with WSP. I'm the site engineer working on the project for the city and working hand in hand with Whiting Turner.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And Marla also.
Hello, I'm Marlo Dooley with WSP. I'm the environmental permitting expert.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead. I guess, Mr. Vogel, you'll kick it off.
I will. And Rob or Marla, are you going to go ahead and show the site plan?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. As Chairman Shapiro mentioned, I think you gave a great summary of what the scope of the project is. We are doing some storm drain realignment, a pump station, enlarging for outfalls, and raising the bulkhead at the dinghy dock near Alex Haley Plaza. So as Marlon brings these things up, if you'll look at the very left-hand side of your screen there, that's the Alex Haley Plaza. Marley, can you just wave the cursor over it? Far left, lower left. Yep, there we go. That bulkhead's being raised a foot, so we can improve accessibility there, as well as keep the ducks away from Alex Haley. And then 3 outfalls there along the Dock Street parking lot, all being enlarged. And then on the next sheet, 1 more outfall is being enlarged. So that's pretty much it in terms of what we're doing in the water. Marla, anything to add?
I would just want to say that we have already submitted to MDE, and they're recommending at this time a no license, because they don't think they have jurisdiction over the areas. The U.S. Army Corps is also looking at this from a wetland and waterway standpoint. We do have a field meeting with them coming up in a couple weeks. But there's been no major comments on the extent of the waterway impacts that we're doing, because a lot of it is not actually going to end up being in the waterway, and it's just above the mean high water line. So we're more looking at doing maintenance to the bulkhead. So we don't see there being many comments from the state or federal wetland and waterway agencies.
Okay. Any, I guess, Rob, are you just here to answer questions? If we have engineering questions, which honestly, go ahead.
Yeah, that is correct. Here to answer any questions. But the intent, just the enlarging of the bulkhead penetrations, those are very undersized for conveying per standard engineering practices. And then the raising of the bulkhead, the bulkhead at Alex Haley is very low. So just to prevent that regular inundation from a high tide.
Okay.
So that's the intent of both of those activities.
Okay. At this point, do you have anything more, Mr. Vogel, from the city that you want to present? It's pretty cut and dry to me.
Sure. I guess I probably should have mentioned what the point of the project is, and it's to prevent flooding
Right.
in the city dock area. I didn't
Yeah.
mention that, but overall, we're building a lot of land-based flood barriers to go along with the things we've mentioned.
Okay. All right. If we can if we're done with this plan, if we can unshare it, that'd be great. Just get, and then I guess we'll open up to public testimony at this point. Let's start with, I guess, and let me just double check. Brian, did we have any written opposition?
No, we did not.
Great. Okay. All right. So, well, let's start with Miss McDermott.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for hearing some really questions or clarifications. If this is strictly related to the Alex Haley area, I'm not sure my concerns are as pertinent, but I am concerned about the Welcome Center and the park issues and the resilience program as it is affecting sort of the overall resiliency plan. So for example, if the building would have an impact on other activities around the city dock, whether it be Alex Haley or otherwise, for enlarging the bulkheads and the penetrations, I'm concerned whether there's an assessment, a mitigation assessment, or resiliency assessment that could tell the public whether the objective of flood mitigation is affected. So while this is one area, the Alex Haley area, that makes sense to me. My concern is whether this activity is undermined, supported by other activities that will be around City Dock, and whether you, as a public body, have gotten any assessment that the building is recommended at the water's edge, and whether that will affect all this other work that's occurring.
Okay. Do we have, how many other people from the public are in this meeting?
I believe there's only one more.
Okay. Who is that? I'm trying to see the names.
RCR, if you could identify yourself, your name, first and last name.
Rachel, are you there?
I just sent a prompt. Oh, there we go.
I am so sorry. I'm on my phone and having difficulty with Zoom. Yes, I am from historic Annapolis and was going to make a public comment, also geared towards the Maritime Welcome Center proposed on the water's edge. So I concur with Ms. McDermott's comments, questions, and concerns.
Okay, is there, all right, thank you. Any rebuttal by the city, Mr. Vogel or Mr. Kelly?
I guess I'd be happy to answer the commission's questions if you felt there was something in there that was relevant to the domain or the purview of the Port Wardens Commission.
Right, and I actually agree. This is any redesign of the use of the land-based element is not really our role and responsibility. If you look at Title 15, we're sort of we don't stop exactly at the water's edge, but we really do. Like it is, and they're not really, from what I see from the plans, it doesn't look like anything is growing or expanding. It's just being elevated for the sake of flood mitigation, and that is not in the Port Warden's chart. So I really am there. There's not much here that even Title 15 would apply to. And it sounds like the public comments are tailored towards some of the other commission, and other divisions within the city.
Correct.
And there'll be other venues to express your concerns, but I don't think this one in particular is actually, we are looking at the construction material, and we listen carefully to the city engineers, because again, it actually gets approved or declined in its phase before it even comes to us, and it is approved by the city. So it's not, any of the comments relating to what the purpose or use or change of the particular land is not in our purview, as far as
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. And thank you so much for that. I'm only wondering if the work you're approving is undermined by the other activities, and if there's been any assessment of that for your consideration.
Unfortunately, it's not within Title 15 to consider. If they were building something that obstructed another person's riparian rights, if they were building something not to code based on the various elements of Title 15, we would have an issue. Everything they're building appears to be appropriate and approved by their engineers, and when it comes to us, there's very little we have within Title 15 that overlaps, or that would be other than just the mere alteration of the construction, and they are, the building elements related to how it's built, which is section 15, 16, 20. As a matter of fact, one little section we deal with, which is 15, 16, it's also part of 15, 16, 020. It actually will materially assist with probably the pollution occurring, so that they're short of that, there isn't much at all. The city seems to be well within whatever is in our purview related to this topic. If it were sort of tidal, not bulkheaded, and there's a variance of what someone perceived to be usable land, but it's really tidal water, area, then maybe we would have some element, but that's not here. That's already bulkheaded area. So,
thank you, Mr. Shapiro.
All right, thank you very much. Let me ask, any other questions from any other port wardens?
Yeah, Dr. Siegel here. Two items. The outfall, that's just basically a sewer pipe, correct? And that's being increased in size?
No, it's not a sewer pipe. It's a stormwater pipe.
Stormwater.
Not sewer. There's no sewer involved.
Okay, so, all right. So you're just increasing the diameter of the stormwater pipe.
So there's no flooding in the areas landward from the bulkhead. It's to drain the area so that the runoff doesn't flood, or, you're not stepping in puddles, basically.
So is that pipe going to be, is it any higher than it is now? In other words, if
No.
you have a rise in, they're talking about the rise in the oceans and everything, will that pipe now be above the level of the creek there, or will it be below the level of the creek?
No,
Where there'll
it's
be a
above the
backflow?
it's above the mean high water line. So there won't, it won't be. I know it floods there a lot, so it's a little complicated in that way, but it's not like mean high water line. It's not flooding. It's just above that. And they're only increasing it by a couple inches.
So the invert of the pipes will stay the same. The invert being
Yes.
the bottom elevation of the pipe will be the same. The opening gets larger to convey more water out, so it should help reduce your surface flooding, your ponding.
As an aside, will it be like backflow preventer to keep the water
Correct.
from creek? So there will be.
Yes.
Okay. The other thing I was going to ask you, if I may, the bulkhead will be a little bit wider by a couple inches. Is that what this?
In height, but not in.
In height.
Height.
Yes.
Okay.
It's going up a foot. It's not in width.
Okay.
It's
I
going
got you.
up. So
And-
like right now, most of the time you probably see that part underwater, right? It's going up a foot so that we can tie in the floodgate. So
The north edge of the Alex Haley Park currently has a step, and the south edge has a ramp. So
Right.
we're lifting that up to allow that to be ADA compliant, so that you can walk through. But it really the major intent is to help prevent that inundated flooding, because you get a high tide and it comes up over the top of the bulkhead, which I believe is at
Sure. Oh, yeah.
1.3. So we're trying to get it just, I think, up to 2, so to give you a little bit of resiliency there.
Just, and also as an aside, I don't know if this pertains. Will the bulkhead be extended past 110 Compromise through Fleet Reserve over to the hotel?
we're not
Not part of this project.
we're not extending in this part.
So that's somebody else.
The city's got plans for future projects there, but we'll be back for that.
So Newman Street will still potentially be flooded until it's all dealt with.
Correct.
Okay.
And we're going to be seeing all this over the next decade or so. Every federal agency, every state and county and city that has waterfront is all addressing this, from Florida up to Maine. So it's going to be 20, 30 years of probably various, which is, I mean, I think we need to deal with it if we care about actually, walking in shoes and not rubber boots or waders anywhere. All right. Mr. Lerner, any questions? All right, Mr. McCott.
For the construction phase of the project, are there going to be pollution controls in place in the water, or what's your plan there?
There's nothing in the water. The only thing that they're going to put in the water is a box so that they can take out the old pipe and put the new pipe in, so that it won't, the debris and any kind of dirt won't get into the waterway. So it's like a wooden box that will encompass the pipe. And that way we don't have to deal with being in the waterway and do any waterway construction.
Yeah, we'll
And of course, the land-based construction will have sediment and erosion controls.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. I guess, are there any other questions of the port wardens before we close the public hearing? All right. I declare the public hearing on Port 2024-00010, City of Annapolis City Dock. To discuss the statutory considerations. I mean, everything within Title 15 and there's very few of sort of the 12 main ones we deal with that actually are involved. There doesn't seem to be any sort of problem at all. As a matter of fact, there's an improvement to section title 15, 16, 20. You know, I would at this point, any other statutory discussions amongst the port wardens or? Okay, so I will attain okay, I guess he waved goodbye. I'll entertain a motion to approve or deny the application for port 2024-00010, City of Annapolis City Dock. Can I get a motion?
Motion
All
to
right,
approve.
Mr. Lerner, thank you. Can I get a second? Mr.
Motion.
Siegel, I think I got, thanks, Mr. McCop, I got Siegel, gotcha. All right, all those in favor of motion to approve, or approve the motion for the application port 2024-00010, City of Annapolis City Dock, state aye or yes?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. So motion is approved. Thank you all for attending.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, let's go ahead and let's keep moving. Is there anything else for the good of the order?
Question on the motions to reconsider. Are those are motions like that public information at this point? Are they published on the website?
That's probably a Brian question to see if it's been uploaded or not, but generally it's going to be part of the record. So it would be like any other motion or any other witness testimony or what have you. There's nothing preventing it from being uploaded to the public. I just don't know if that actually formally has been done or not yet.
Okay.
And when someone does file a motion, what kind of time frame does it at least get to the port wardens?
Ask that question again. You're asking how much time is in between the motion
like
being
when a
filed?
motion, and again, this is the first one I've dealt with, motion for reconsideration. When a motion for reconsideration arrives to the city, how quickly, because I never got any of the two. I happened to get one from someone else who received it, but I never.
So Brian sent them to everyone earlier this week. The reason why they were both filed last week,
right,
on different days. And the reason why there was a little bit of it wasn't sent to you immediately was because Brian was out of office. I don't want to speak on behalf of Brian since he's here, but he was not
no worries.
in the office.
No worries. I totally, yes. No,
as soon as he got back, he sent it to you guys. And that's generally what happened. That's what my experience with Brian has been, and Kevin before that is once he gets something, he sends it.
I didn't realize anyone was out of town. I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
I
got it to you as soon as I could.
And no worries. So I just had people beat you. No, I didn't know you were out of town. Again, if I had known that, I wouldn't have even said anything. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. Is there any other questions or for the good of the order? Let me clarify. All right. Let's go ahead and move to adjourn. This being there being no other items on the agenda, to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
All right,
adjourn.
thank you, Mr. Siegel. I'd entertain the second, please.
Second.
Jared. All right, thank you very much, Jared. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, hearing no opposition, the meeting is adjourned. City people, thank you very much, especially Carrie. Thank you. This is